So welcome back to the Finn Open European Championships here in Athens. We are, or have been told by the race committee, we have a 2 o'clock start. So obviously that's a bit tricky for anyone watching around the world, but that is in about 5 minutes time. We will be going into that start, and so joining the race very shortly. 6 races now complete. We are 1 race behind on the schedule. That is due to a lost first day. But we are certainly have spectacular conditions on day 4. 1 race in the bag, and that was a win for Andy Maloney, the Kiwi sailor. A win in Parma at the Princess Sophia Trophy a few weeks back, and now leads here in Athens. He went into that race in 2nd place. It's will be a great result for Andy Maloney to have come away from these 2 European events, knowing that he has really showed what he is potential of. Fellow countryman Josh Jr. still there, still in the runnings, but I say just struggling to find that little bit of consistency. And again, a lot of big names falling foul to the tricky conditions that seem to be out on the water in Athens. So 1 little mistake and you're punished for it, and certainly with the caliber of the fleet that is there, it's an easy thing to do. But of course, trying to keep all of the races consistent, trying to minimize those mistakes, minimize that loss, not pick up a too big a result to counter. As you'll see from the scrolling text on the red bar at the bottom, U flag is flying again. We've had a few general recalls, and so they've been sticking the U flag up to just try and hold people back a little bit more, give them a little bit more of a wait and hold back. Up there you can see all the boats closed in on that start line, looking and deciding where they want to be. How are they going to tackle this racetrack? Seen a lot of people just hold onto that mid-left section, but we've seen some pretty clear jumps from people on either side of the racecourse. But Andy Maloney top spot, Giles Scott 2nd, Zomba Burquez in 3rd. Facundo Alazar is slowly chipping away, slowly moving up that leaderboard. It's exactly where he wanted to be. Anders Pedersen again. He is looking to get himself qualified, get that country all qualified for Tokyo 2020, so he's doing everything he needs to. Next up, we can see Tom Ramshaw starting to find a bit of form now. Jorg Zaref is in there. He's looking to get the country qualified as well. So both still keeping in place at the moment, but with plenty more racing to go, anything could happen. This is going to be race number 7. You flag down 1 minute to the start of this race. We will be hopefully joining some pictures very shortly. Now there's a live picture. Oscar 10 knots as well, so pumping completely in force for that downwind leg at this near side. Tapio Nuko taking that tack out on this. Now we've jumped down to the pin end. Just trying to make track of it for myself as well. So finishing up third in that last. Okay, we're now back up by the committee boat. So we track in on these lead boats coming away from the committee boat. Alejandro Muscat in near side of the picture, tacking off from that committee boat as soon as it became clear. Just up above him, I believe Tapio Nuko. Now taking the tap. Moko starting to work his way back, and look at that position at the moment. All looks good for him. Nice right hand shift. This will put him back in a controlling position in that midsection of the racecourse. So a good start and a solid banking of that position. Not committing too much further to one side, not happy with that, wanting to go back towards the fleet, stay in contention with the other side, anyone that wants to attack from the opposite side. So a good start for the Finn. Look at that gap. Not often that someone gets the jump as much as that. There, Mitakis, Greece 77, closest to shot as well. Not a great start from him. You can see he's back a few rows here. Up on that left-hand side, how things stand at the moment. That is not this race. That is how they stand after 6. Just trying to get enough focus in on those. Looking at, I think that's Filip Kazuski there, left of shot. Looking pretty comfortable. Jake Lilly just up above him. No, actually, I believe that to be Josh Jr. over towards the right-hand side. Just trying to find that one in the middle there, but all looking good at the moment. The bunch coming away from that mid-left side, but we saw great manoeuvre from Tapio Nuko from Finland over towards that right-hand side. A lot of the key members all sitting in that mid to left again. So they're all trying to protect that mid-left side, which is interesting because it's showing that They're not committed to a side, but they're happy with just giving a little bit of protection towards that side. Completely on the opposite side of the racecourse, Max Kohlhoff trying to break free, get a little bit of breathing space. So now we join drone picture. That is Andy Maloney with the bright coloured bib on. He was second place when he came into this today. He has now jumped up into that gold medal position, and he's putting himself in a great position again. So he is really settled into what the conditions are providing. Again, just happy to put himself into sync with the shifts where he wants to be, just dropping into either side, not committing hard to any side. So in shot again, we saw earlier coming off that committee boat, taking that right tack, then starting to come back towards the centre of the fleet. That is the man in shot right now, Nurko from Finland. Just using the tracker to identify the boats just off his hip. So the one with the stickers and the clearer sail is Giles Scott. Bit of a shocker in that last race, which saw him lose his grip on the lead, and that switched to Andy Maloney. Now looking to regain that, or certainly start to pull together some solid results again, bring that bit more consistency back, and he's in a good position right there. Just up above him and off his hip is reigning world champion Zomba Berkes. So there's Giles Scott. That's Berkes just out in front as well. Max Salmonen. And that little cluster of three just up in our right hand side, that is Metakas. So we're going to fly straight over the top of them. So Metakas, that top end boat. A big spread across the course. We can see already lanes starting to open up, people filtering back. There we are. No surprise to who we're tuning in on. In is Metakas, the leading Greek boat at the moment, looking to try and get his country qualified for Tokyo 2020. Hopes and dreams sit on his shoulders from all of the people here, and what a way it would be to getting that qualification spot here on home waters. Working over the waves. He's got a nice bit of pace compared with the boats just back from him. And the boat right back from him in sight is the Frenchman Jonathan Laubert as well. Tom Ramshaw just up with the clear sails, just up above him. So then Caleb Payne even further, just over his shoulder. Of course, sticking with the home favourite, Piotr Kula from Poland, looking in a strong position alongside Fabian Pick over towards the left side of the race course. So as we're looking at this screen over towards the right, Nicholas Heiner out towards that side as well. Josh Jr. right on the opposite side of the race course, along with Anders Pedersen. They have a nice little bit of a jump out on that right. The right-hand side seems to offer that little bit of a gain early on in the first half of that beat. The boats that we saw obviously take that tack out on that starboard end. They made that gain, jumped straight onto that first shift, but we saw a few of them, and certainly Tapio Nurko was one of them that came back towards that mid-side just to protect his position a little bit more. But the boats on the right aren't looking too bad, but of course their options are going to be minimised if that breeze clicks left a little. Running in that midsection, Zomba Berkes, Tapio Nurko, Nurko, he is there. Zomba Berkes, Giles Scott, Fabian Pick, Pietro, they are all there. On that left-hand side, still on probably an even line across the course from them is Nicholas Heiner. So a big battle between the Dutch sailors. Jan Posma trying to overhaul Nicholas Heiner and vice versa for that place at the games. They have qualified the country. So 8 already qualified. Many of these sailors in between what is a brutal schedule within the Finn. Not just the boat preparation, the testing, the understanding the boat, the constant on-the-water training, the fitness training, and the constant mental preparation and resiliences. That a lot of them will all be headed off to other boats. Some many jumping onto Stars and larger class boats and doing the Star Champions League. No, Star Sailors League, sorry. And of course with the other boats, TP52s, the Maxis, many of them are powerhouses as well as their tactical know-how all being provided on there. The breeze up in that top right-hand corner, we're identifying up to sort of 12 knots. So it is slowly starting to dial up. So it is doing what the forecast said, which obviously is a nice thing for the weather to do. It's obviously the forecasters do as well as they can to predict what's going to happen, but it can only be decided on any given day at that time what the conditions are. So the screen there flipped upside down for you before you wonder, are the boats coming downwind? No, they are coming upwind. And that is your first mark. Part of race 7. The little dog leg, spreader leg at that top mark. We have Josh Jr. coming in from that right-hand side. But you can see just starting to edge out just in front of everyone. Right in the middle, near that centre line, is the Polish sailor. Someone we've mentioned a couple of times. Piotr Kula is in a nice position, whether he can hold it together, come back in underneath the pack of Ineos Metakas, Giles Scott, Zomba Berkes. They are coming in from the right. Tom Ramshaw as well. It's all going to get very, very congested up here. We'll get to that windward mark, hopefully with a camera, and be able to watch the action as it goes round. But it certainly looks like these lead boats, bar Cooler in the middle of the course, are approaching from the right side of the course. Josh Jr. has gone quite a long way out towards that right-hand side, committed himself quite a long way. Andy Maloney just down from him as well. He's slightly out towards that left side. If you're looking at this screen and the tracker, that white line on the left side, that is Josh Jr. You can see the NZL just starting to fade into all the numbers, but that whiter line, that is Josh Jr. Below him is our current overall leader, I should say, Andy Maloney. But Cooler just remaining bow forward, able to take these shifts, dropping one underneath anyone's bow, leading them into the next shift. Look how congested it is. 84 boats all closing in on the mark at a similar time. The southerly breeze really started to be enhanced by that bright sunshine. Something that all the sailors have longed to see. They had a couple of days of overcast, cooler weather. Their practice race day, bright sunshine, gorgeous conditions. And then claw himself back up through the pack. He was deeper than he was on that last race, but a 14th. But now still very much a counter because of that 23rd. Zomba Berquez, again, picking up not a great one in yesterday's race, number 5 and 4. So the discard being carried there. Olizar settling into a little bit of a bit more of a solid state, a 2nd and a 4th, but 15th in that last one. Anders Pedersen, again, we see race number 5. End one yesterday was tricky for him, but he's still very much in contention. Then Nicholas Heiner. Alichan Kainar, he was up into 3rd going into today's racing, was the one that lost out most. Very, very deep on that last race, and we can see a 47th, but end race for him yesterday was a 36, so he's certainly going to have to do some work to pull himself through. Tom Ramshaw as well, creeping back up. As the boats, this is the first one coming into that first section. Only are they just starting to divide. Can start to see European champion Ed Wright as well appearing towards that front side as well. We hope to join with some live pictures very shortly. So we are still with the tracker for now. But let's hope that we can join these pictures shortly. Coming in on that right, looking very good, is Ed Wright, European champion. Just back from him, Ineos Metakis. He is there as well. Tucked in more in the middle of the course, cooler. Have the Swiss here's some, so there we join the pictures. There's Jörg Zarif, Jake Lilly, Nicholas Heiner, all getting round. Fabian Pick, Giles Scott. Fabian Pick having to do a double tack up, trying to find that space in. Jan Postma just further back there, the Hungarian, and Metakis alongside each other, the world champion and the Greek right alongside each other, trying to get round this mark. So Caleb Payne drawn back into it. So we miss the first few boats going round, so I'm just trying to see how it looks on the tracker. There's Olizar now tacking round. So I believe China's Lu Wenshen is around. He was round in second or third. The Swiss, the single one, Niels Thieninuk, is up into, I believe, is leading this race. Christoph Stromsky is up in front as well, so hopefully we can get some pictures of those lead boats. Ed Wright, he's there as well. Currently, as the tracker has it, Lu Wenshen from China is leading. From Krzysztof Stromsky from Poland, Jörg Zarif in third. Then we're just trying to identify and pick up on the next few. There's a fair, tightly clustered boats that the track is just trying to work out for. So trying to, sorry for the quietness again, just trying to figure out where people are and give you a real representation of where people are. The camera obviously in this fixed point showing everyone going round, but makes it a little bit more difficult of what's going on at the front of the fleet. So as you see, the fleet well on their way downwind to the gate mark for the first time. From what I can identify from the tracker, looking at it manually rather than worrying about where people are. Niels Thieninuk, the Swiss, is up near the front. Lu Wenshen is up near the front. Christoph Stromsky is near the front. Jorg Zarif is tucked in there, and then there's a real battle behind them all going on. Lewis Brake, Pieter Jan Posma, Giles Scott, Ed Wright, they are all bundled in there and trying to make sense of that. So the joys of the Greek studio once more. Those are the two commentators dealing with the national television or the Greek broadcast. Obviously a large event. Certainly two of them would be going to Norway and to Brazil. And there, from that tracker, you can see out in front, it is the single Swiss sailor taking on the whole fleet, and at the moment with lots of breathing space as he looks back as it all unfolds behind him. But then the results from the other boats sitting just back from him. Krzysztof Stromsky from Poland. Giles Scott is there. Ed Wright is there. So just trying again, and finally here we are. So the boats working their way downwind. Again, the countries that are up there on that left-hand side are the ones that have qualified, that have got solid symbols against them. The ones that are flashing: Croatia, France, still to qualify. Down in the bottom corner, this is your European 11. Bit of a turbulent event so far for him, but doing everything possible to secure his place further up that leaderboard. He won the European Championships last year in Cadiz. He was second the year before in Marseille. He was second in 2013. and he was third in 2014. So very much a man of the podium within the European Championships, and would certainly be looking to try and make that all happen again. He's got work to do to climb up that leaderboard, because before today he was 11th. So even though it's sailing, he's got plenty of climbing to do. Now we can start to really get the feel for his position against the fleet. He's bow forward of that small cluster. He is staying over towards this side of the racecourse. And in at that gate mark. Pretty tricky for us to see with the drone at the moment, so apologies. I'm trying to just identify that boat exactly. I would have said is Nils around the opposite side. That is Giles Scott, who's done an amazing downwind leg and is up into second, followed by his fellow countryman, the European champion Ed Wright on this side. On this near side as well, we have Andre Templi. There is Nicholas Heiner. So going round that opposite side mark is the Polish Krzysztof Stromski, Jorg Zarif. Now, round that bottom mark, Fabian Pick, tucked in by another British sailor, the Irish, one of the Irish boats, whether that is Oystein McClellan or Theon Linden, wasn't 100% sure because of not being able to identify the sail number. Lewis Brake now around. Filip Kazuski. And round the bottom mark, there is Max Selmanen. Alongside him, the Croatian Josip Olwich. Trying to understand, can't see on some of the sail numbers, difficult to identify exactly. That's Josh Jr. back there as well, so a lot of work to do for fellow Kiwi man, certainly when he knows that he has got a real battle on his hand to try and identify where Andy Maloney is. I'm just trying to find him at the moment, and I think Andy Maloney has, this has been the race that he did not want. From the tracker that I'm picking up, he's only just coming down to the bottom gate. This is the left-hand gate, so he's on the opposite side. So again, this is going to be a big scored regatta. Everyone chucking in a score that they wish they hadn't, and it's not just any old score, they're heavy hitting points. So with that being the case, it's certainly worse than a 17th, and so that could easily see Andy Maloney start having to count a 17th, which is his worst race so far. So again, the tables are really going to for the silver, plays at the moment in gold, but taking that tack for a shift. Giles Scott as well going on a similar shift, so as the camera pans out, it might pick them both up, but at the moment, this is Ed Wright on the far right of this race course. You can see that breeze filtering in. Actually, just for confirmation, the tracker, as I say, just a little bit back and delayed from that live picture. So the picture that was just left of Ed Wright was Giles Scott, who had already taken that tack early. Look how far Nils is heading out towards that left-hand side. The Swissman is confident of that left-hand side. The tack coming in to bring him back towards the fleet. Jorg Zarif as well, positioned quite far towards that left in this early stage of the beat. So strong commit sailors there. Look, 4 out in front at the moment. A bigger separation from them than we've seen in any other race. Each allowing each other the breathing space. Each allowing each other to feel their side, their position is better. But we will shortly find out which one is. So again, keep track of everything that's been going on at this event. From photos of this event to past events, the highlight up on Facebook. So if you want to keep track of it, it's the International Fin Class on Facebook. Instagram, Fin Class. Twitter, Fin_class. So all tapping into the wonderful worlds of social media. Again, it'd be great to hear your comments. And hear what you're making of this event. Who's the runners and riders you would like to win? Who do you think is going to take the championship? Because, yeah, we're seeing some superb races. There's Mitakas fighting his way through. Who is going to take this championship? Who is going to be crowned European champion? And it'd be great to hear your thoughts on who you think is in prime position for that gold medal in Enoshima in over a year's time. But this is the benchmark. Are people getting, preoccupied and thinking that, they're hitting form early now, a year before it? Is that good? Is it, do people think that's a bit early? And actually these names that are doing that, are we expecting more from, our world champion Zomba Berkes? Are we expecting, we don't know who it's going to be out of the Dutch sailors, whether it's Heine or Jan Posma. So lots of speculation, lots of opinions, but it'd be great to hear your thoughts and who you think and who you're rooting for. So yeah, pop them up on Facebook or on any comments on Twitter. It'd be great to hear it. If you're watching, of course, on the YouTube channel, it would be again likewise great to hear sort of your thoughts on that. So as they make their way upwind again. Look how spread out the fleet has been. We've not seen this at all from when we've kind of looked in on the tracker. It's looked like sort of a group of mosquitoes all around, and here they are. We can now clearly see how spread out this race is starting to happen, whether that's due to the just increase of breeze, whether it's due to a bit of fatigueness kicking in now. You know, lots of racing been happening, but there's suddenly these gaps starting to open up. That allows some of the sailors to have, you know, takes a bit of the pressure off. There is the gaps available. You might be able to find a clear lane. You'll be able to find that double tack, put yourself back into sync with the shift without really having to take a duff lane for that shift. So plenty of space, but it shows that, you know, the boats out in front, how much they're extending away from the rest of the fleet. So phenomenal stuff going on. So yeah, as I've said before, it'd be great to hear your thoughts. Who you're cheering for? Are we going to see the dream come true with Metakas on home waters, qualify his country, and who knows where he's going to finish in that result? Jorg Zaref is doing everything he needs to pull himself up there at the front of this fleet. He is in middle left and the furthest boat forward. So wondering also where other people are tuning in. Where are you in the world? Are you in the most joyous position of being in Athens and watching this racing and maybe just using the tracker and the commentary in this feed as a bit of a reinforcement to what you're seeing out on the water? Or are you somewhere else in this glorious planet? So let us know. Again, that'll be great to hear from you. Looking out, whether you're looking out on the glorious sunshine equaled to what they have in Athens, or whether you're looking at grayer skies. It's hopefully nice to see the battles going on among these boats, and starting to identify there, we can start picking up that Chinese sailors are battling it out at the front. Luan Shen doing a great job, but he's got the Olympic champion breathing down his neck. He's got the European champion breathing down his neck. Not only that, he's got Jorg Zaref, who, of course, is the star world champion from last year, but a host of accolades behind him, and certainly starting to find a bit of form before he came into this event, finishing first in Geneva at the Hempel World Cup Series. He also finished first in Hyères last year. He also won the Hempel World Cup Series final in Marseille last year. So certainly not shy of collecting a trophy or two, and he's certainly looking to do exactly that. Also appearing at the front of that as well, the tracker just starting to jump back again and give us that real life, is the Swiss man. Nils has been doing amazing job. He's out in front, and we, as I say, been trying to track back the tracker now, catching up with him, and look at that lead he's got. Extending out away from the names that we've just been highlighting, but he cannot rest up yet with more of this upwind leg to go before that final blast downwind. Oscar flag is up, so pumping as much as you like on that downwind leg and that short dog leg to the finish. So again, I brought it up a couple of times. It'd be great to get your comments in if there's any bits you'd like to know what's going on. I'll certainly try and find out. If I haven't got the information with me, then I certainly try and find out for you. Again, we're trying to get as much information, whether it's through the trackers, from the cameras, as in what you're seeing. So the tracker and the camera is exactly what we've got access to. So if the camera's not on, then we haven't got it either. But also, again, we try and get as much coverage from people out on the water and get a real idea to be able to feed with you. But all looking good for this. Looks like the trackers sat still with everyone, with the Swiss boat being the only one moving. But no, that is the realistic gap. Niels Fenwick has managed to extend over the top. Some great photos online on the Facebook pages and Instagram that have been shot out on the water. Some really cool shots of people working the boats, trying to get themselves around this race course. Some stunning start line shots. And of course, Boo Outridge down on the ground, putting together the highlight clips, so they can be again seen through the website, which, if you're unsure of, it's 2019.fineuropeans.org. That's 2019 as the number, fineuropeans.org. And if you go onto that, you'll be able to access all of the results. The most So you'll be able to access all of the results, keep up to date with how they are looking. See those great highlight clips. If you aren't on Twitter, you can also follow it on the website there, so you'll see all of them pop up alongside. So again, they are headed upwind, so the image in your mind just needs to be reversed a little bit, so they are making their way upwind to the top mark. Closing in are some of the big names of the industry again, but it is who's been out in front from the start. Niels Fenwick, completely very put my hand up, and a translation of the classic British translation of that surname. So apologies, Niels, not doing you any disrespect for that. You are sailing phenomenally in this race, and what a lead he has. Breathing down his neck though, Jorg Zarif, Giles Scott, Ed Wright, Zomba Burkes, Ned Nad Buggerin, Nicholas Heiner, all looking to secure as many points as they possibly can. Again, here we are at that top mark. There is Niels around that top mark. Off comes that Vang. Spread a leg before turning that boat downwind and driving it towards the finish line. There he goes. But look at the gap. So this is all breathing space to him at the moment. Wait till one of those sails breaks that image. There it is. Jorg Zarif up into second. This is what he needs at the moment 9th going into this race. This will pull him up even further and get him more secure on that qualified position. But look, again, still plenty of breathing space back to Jorg Zarif. These lead 2 boats nice and comfy out in front. Here we are, the world champion Burgess just below the Olympic champion Giles Scott. They both round together side by side. That will be a hell of a battle downwind. Will they get blinkered though and start focusing on themselves and lose track of the other boats approaching? So right alongside Nicholas Heiner, then Ed Wright. Alongside them, the Croatian Nednad Bugarin. And there's Jan Posma as well. Andre Templi. And so it was the pole that slipped back on that upwind leg. Christoph Stromsky. With the Chinese sailor still very in the mix. Luan Shen. And there's Mitakas. He is up there as well. Big cheers from everybody on shore, knowing that he is there. 2 Australian boats, Lewis Brake and Jake Lilly, round now, trying to chase down Fabian Pick, Khaled Payne. There's Alichan Kana now stepping into the mix. Big duck from the Frenchman coming in from the left, Jonathan Lobert. So big duck to avoid. I believe it would have been the Irish sailor Fionn Linden. So risking coming in, Philip Kazuski, Josh Jr. Just dipping behind. There is Tom Ramshaw right in front of Max Selmanen. It's giving him the breathing space to go on the inside. Anders Pedersen there as well. Dennis Karpak from Estonia around. There is Andy Maloney. So there we have seen him first time further back. And from what I can make sense of that, he is further back than his 17th place, which is his worst result at the moment. So we'll just see the changing of places in that top 3 again. Cardona with a dangerous port tack straight across, causing all sorts of bother at this point. There's clearly going to be some hails of protest at that point. He just came straight across on port. Johannes Pedersen also had to avoid, make a big movement out of the way. There we see the penalty being applied. Cardona just to windward of all these boats. He cannot interfere with these guys. But what a shocker. Bold move to go in at that pace and into that corner. So, as the lead boats skip off downwind, we capture these boats. More penalties being handed out in the background there with boats spinning. A German boat, can't identify exactly the sail number, but lots of pressure starting to rise. Risks all being thrown in now. Latson from Russia. Look at the lead out in front. Nils from Switzerland out in front, ahead of Jorg Zarif. Then there was a tighter bundle and a good battle going on with Giles Scott and Zomba Burquez, and they are battling out for third spot. Tightly contested just behind them. We saw waiting was the bundle of Nednad Bugarin from Croatia, Nicholas Heine from the Netherlands, from China, Lu Wenshen. They were all poised, all ready to go. Also, the European champion is in there, Ed Wright and Andrei Teply from Czechoslovakia. This is the downwind leg before the little dog leg to the finish. So as they work their way downwind, it has been, I'd like to say, a comfortable ride, an easy ride out for the man from Switzerland who is led this race from start to finish. But the amount of energy, the work that has to go in to stay out in front, he has done a superb job. Jorg Zarif looking to move back up that leaderboard. Has certainly started to find a little bit more of a rhythm coming in over these last few races, with an 8th and a 3rd in the last 2 races, and this a potential 2nd. But we can see Giles Scott moving away from Zomba Burquez on this downwind leg. Has he got enough runway to be able to close that gap on Jorg Zarif? We saw that he was super fast on that first downwind leg, and that's what really opened up the opportunities for Scott on the way downwind. So interesting to see how the tables are going to pan out with Andy Maloney, where he's finished. Obviously, we've got Zomba Burquez up here, right alongside Scott. They're the two chomping at the heels of Andy Maloney. Andy Maloney went in with a 10-point gap to them, but that could quickly disappear if he has to add 17 points to that. It will tighten up the points immensely, and we could see a real tight battle between these top 3 boats. Just trying to identify where Olazar is, because he's been the man on the move slowly up onto the leaderboard and been sat in 4th quite consistently. Norway's Anders Pedersen as well. We saw him and picked up near that top mark. Nicholas Heine slowly moving up the ranks as well. And I'm sure for Heine, it's also about trying to spread the gap between him and Jan Posma. Here they come down towards the gate. Stretched out nearly across the whole leg of this course. That shows how far in front these lead boats are. Coming down towards that gate. Hopefully we can get live pictures of the lead boat as he turns round that bottom gate mark. It is now the run to the finish. A superb result. There it is. What a lead as he's come in towards that lower end of the finish line. A phenomenal win for Switzerland. Shows how much you can break away, and there's some quite big gaps back. Going to struggle to identify these boats as they come in here, but this should be Jorg Zarif, unless Giles Scott managed to overhaul him on that downwind leg. That looks like a gold bib to me, so it looks like there is Giles Scott. Then it is Zomba Burkes. So I would have suspected, just as the camera changed, that Jorg Zarif was the boat that squeezed on through. But I wouldn't confirm that a bit later on. Coming in here, we have the Croatian Nednad Bugarin crossing the line, then Nicholas Heiner of the Netherlands. And just trying to identify who that was right behind him. I would have said it was fellow teammate Jan Posma. Ed Wright crosses the line. Andrei Templi from Czechoslovakia. Fabian Pick. Then a great result for Luen Shen. Alichan Kena squeezing in just in front of Jake Lilly. Another boat just off to the left of us. Squeezing past, couldn't see. That's Khalid Payne coming into shot. So, all eyes are on defining where Andy Maloney is. Is that the man there? No. That crossing the line is Lewis Brake. Then we look back towards him. Doesn't look like a... This looks like a New Zealand sail coming in here. But it looks like fellow teammate Josh Jr. Then right behind there is Andy Maloney. So what that will have done to the results, we will wait and find out until everyone has been confirmed and crossed that line. Max Selmanen crossing through the line now. So there we are. The single Danish sailor crossing the line there, Andre Hoden Christiansen. Josip Ulrich just crossing behind us there. The second Chinese sailor, He Shen, crossing the line, Max Kolhoff. So there'll be some smiles on board some of these boats, and there'll also be some disappointment working out what they need to change, how they can work out what's going on. We'll bring you the overall updated results very shortly. Again, they'll be provisional offshore until they've confirmed, and any, of course, protests have been sorted. Giles Scott takes second. Zomba Burquez takes third. You can still see plenty of boats only halfway down this downwind leg to catch up. So as the mid and final runners come down towards the finish line, as they close in on those final spots, we have the top three that are confirmed and the overall leaderboard. But as we don't have shots of the finish or from the tracker that's clear, we'll round up with race number 7. One more race they're looking to get today, and that will bring us back up to the 8 races that have been scheduled for this point. And then they can focus in on the 2 races tomorrow before going into that all-telling medal race on Saturday. Keep up to date through the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course the Europeans website, the 2019.fineuropeans.org, and be able to keep track of all the pictures and bits going on. But we will be back shortly with race number 8. Do not leave your seat. Well, maybe to go to the toilet or go and grab yourself a drink or some food, but certainly be back for race number 8, and we will see how the tables look going into race 8 once all of these boats are confirmed. So here we are. Welcome to race number 8. This is where the excitement all starts. We've had 2 superb races today in what's been very tricky conditions. We've seen the top 2 boats, Giles Scott, Andy Maloney, swapping places throughout that racing. And if you just look at the leaderboard, it's pretty clear to see that there's some pretty big points being added to it, which shows that it's not as clear cut out on the water. We're going to go back in and join race number 8, which is our final race today. So a maximum of 3 races can be sailed. This is the 3rd race. With this race completed, at the end of this race, we will be back to, as the schedule was planned, 8 races completed, 2 per day. So we're only playing catch up on that 1 extra race. So we will join pictures on there. We have got the U flag flying again, just to add a little bit of a penalty for anyone trying to push that line too early. But all things